The league is in a panic about the Thunder owning the Clippers picks these next couple of years.
First time in his career, Kevin Durant, cornerstone of that Thunder franchise, will miss an extended period of time due to injury.
The NBA was supposed to be stepping into a new era where everything felt balanced, a league where every squad actually had a real shot at winning it all. But instead, a wild combo of luck, messy decisions, and straight-up mastermind moves created something nobody saw coming. Back in April 2023, the NBA dropped a bomb on the whole league when they introduced the second apron luxury tax, a rule that basically smacked any team brave enough to keep all their stars together. It was pitched as the big equalizer, the tool that would stop super teams and spread talent everywhere. On paper, it looked clean. It looked like the league was setting up a fair playground where every franchise could swing at the crown. But once the season hit, things twisted fast. Bad trades, front office slip-ups, and some brutal injury luck turned this whole balanced NBA era into something completely different. Instead of leveling the field, the rule might have helped create a powerhouse the league has never seen before. Out of all that chaos, one team somehow landed in a position so strong that fans are saying they might be the best set squad in NBA history. How in the world did things flip this hard? Let's run it back and break down exactly how we got here and how the entire league ended up upside down.
We're focused on, honestly, just us getting better as individuals and as a group through every game, through every experience.
Not too long ago in 2024, the Dallas Mavericks eliminated the Thunder in the postseason, only to get handled by the Celtics in the finals. In that moment, people across the NBA were pumped because this was supposed to be the era of true competitive balance. Every team had its own rising superstar, its own flavor of play, its own solid roster ready to shake up the standings every night. The West looked like it belonged to a long-term rivalry between the Mavs and the Thunder, while the Celtics were holding it down in the East like real champs. Everything felt set, but then the collapse began. A year later, Jason Tatum went down with a terrible torn Achilles, and the Celtics front office was suddenly staring at a nightmare situation. With Tatum sidelined, their title hopes were basically frozen, and that second apron tax was sitting over them like a storm waiting to strike. They were forced.
This is what I've seen you do last year, and I've seen it this year, and I want to know if this is an adjustment by you or this adjustment by Coach Daigneault. I notice a lot of times when you're playing out of pick and roll, sometimes they run two at the ball, whether it's a big or a guard. I've noticed that you start taking the ball to a sideline and attacking the matchup one-on-one instead of bringing the pick to you. Is that something that you're doing on your own? Is that an adjustment by Coach Daigneault? Because when they put two to the ball, you have to get off it. But once you get to that sideline and there's no screen coming, you can attack, you can get downhill, you can make plays, you can get to your spots.
Chill out. You're giving out the scout.
Oh, damn, my bad. I'm a basketball head, and I love the adjustments.
Yeah, the open side actions and pick and rolls and those type of things, they eliminate two-sided help. So I know, like, behind me, there's nobody there. So, like, I can freely come off and shoot a jumper. I can freely come off and reject and go baseline if I want to. And I just get that whole side. But that's something that, coaches implemented over the last couple of years as we've seen so many different coverages throughout us growing as a group. But Coach does a great job of trying to make the game easier for not only myself, but the rest of the guys in the group out there.
To break everything apart, they unloaded Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis in trades that felt like straight fire sale moves just to escape the crushing penalties. And the misfortune didn't stop rolling. The Indiana Pacers, another team that looked ready to rise, watched their own key players suffer the same devastating injury. Then came a decision that fans still argue about today, a move that might go down as one of the roughest trades an NBA front office ever made, coming from Nico Harrison and the Mavericks. That single mistake sent shockwaves through the entire league. Bad timing, major injuries, and shaky judgment all piled up, blowing the league wide open and leaving a massive power vacuum waiting for someone to take control. And out of that whole mess, one team stepped forward looking absolutely unstoppable, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Suddenly, they looked like the next monster of basketball, a squad built to dominate for years. But that's only half the journey. The real turning point traces all the way back to one of the craziest deals the league has seen in recent memory, the Paul George trade from 2019. That move didn't just change a team, it changed the entire direction of the NBA. Everybody remembers how that Paul George deal looked solid for OKC, but nobody knew it would turn into a straight gold mine. What happened after that trade didn't just help the Thunder, it rebuilt their entire future in a way nobody in the league predicted. When OKC made that move, they didn't just trade Paul George, they flipped the whole franchise. They moved on from Russell Westbrook too, basically slamming the reset button on everything and betting their future on a brand new foundation. And what did they get in return? Their best incoming player was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And let's keep it real, back then nobody thought he'd grow into one of the coldest players in the entire league. People knew he was talented, but nobody saw this version.
It's one of those things you figure out as your career goes on. Every night I'm at the top of the scouting report, and the team is trying to take me as the top of the scouting report away. So if I am too aggressive, they were ready for me to be aggressive. Playmaking wise, I could have been better last year. Shot selection wise, I could have been better. And then just manipulating the game offensively. And having more control over what the defense does with me, as opposed to just reading and reacting of what their scout is. Those are the few things that I've kind of honed in on this summer and tried to really implement on a nightly basis.
But here's the wild twist. It wasn't just Shai that made that trade historic. It was that ridiculous mountain of draft picks OKC walked away with. At first, those picks didn't look special. They looked like throw-ins, situational assets, nothing too serious. But almost every single one has ended up hitting perfectly for the Thunder. Some of the earlier picks turned into major cornerstones, including Jalen Williams, who's now a huge part of why this team is so dangerous. And the real treasure? That's all sitting in the future. In 2026, OKC owns 3 first-round picks. One is theirs, one is from Utah, and the biggest one, an unprotected pick from the struggling Clippers. With how rough things have been for LA lately, that Clippers pick could turn into a legit gem. Then 2027 gets even crazier. Another 3 first-rounders. The Spurs and Nuggets picks have some protection, but not enough to stop OKC from potentially scooping them up anyway. And the cherry on top? That spicy pick swap with the Clippers. If LA keeps slipping the way they are now, that swap could easily land OKC a top 5 pick. Just picture this. Your squad is on track to win over 70 games. You're building a dynasty in real time, and you still pull up to the NBA draft holding a top 5 pick like it's nothing. That's not just rare, it's almost unreal. Something like this has only happened once in NBA history, and even that situation wasn't close to what OKC is about to pull off. Back in 1986, the Boston Celtics pulled off something incredible. They won 67 games, grabbed the championship, and then somehow walked away with the 2nd overall pick, landing Len Bias. But the heartbreak that followed changed everything. With his tragic passing, the Celtics never got the chance to take advantage of that once-in-a-lifetime moment, and honestly, comparing that Celtics team to today's Thunder doesn't even line up right. In 1986, Boston's stars were already deep into their primes, or starting to slow down. Meanwhile, OKC's core is just getting warmed up. These players aren't even close to their ceilings, and that's what makes the whole situation so wild. And believe it or not, it still doesn't end there. The Thunder hold 4 more first-round picks between 2028 and 2030. It doesn't even sound real at this point, but this is the position the league let them fall into. Honestly, the rest of the NBA, especially the Los Angeles Clippers, only have themselves to blame for handing OKC this kind of power. The whole purpose behind the second apron luxury tax was supposed to prevent teams from stacking superstar talent. Adam Silver wanted a league with balance, giving smaller market teams a fair chance to compete. But somehow the plan flipped completely, and the result is one of the biggest power boosts a franchise has ever received. Heading into the 2025 and 26 season, the Thunder sit at just 17th in payroll, barely middle tier. But in a few years, things might get tricky. Once all these role players start asking for big money contracts, the situation could get complicated fast. Owner Clay Bennett isn't known for throwing around huge salaries, and he definitely doesn't want to get crushed by second apron penalties. In theory, OKC should eventually start losing some of their key guys. Players chasing bigger contracts, new roles, maybe even heading to rival squads. That's exactly the kind of future the league expected when the second apron rules were created. created. Adam Silver wanted dynasties to break apart naturally, but the Thunder, they're rewriting the script completely. This team isn't just built differently, they're built to last. They opened the season with a wild 18-1 record, and they did it without their second best player on the floor. That level of depth doesn't even feel real. Their offense runs smooth, fast, and sharp, packed with two-way hoopers who can step in and shine the moment their name gets called. No matter who goes down, OKC just keeps rolling like some kind of unstoppable machine that refuses to slow down. And when you start adding all those future draft picks into the picture, the whole thing becomes almost unfair. No squad in the league can realistically match the firepower OKC is lining up for the next decade, and behind all of it stands the architect, Sam Presti, the calm mastermind, the one who never cracks under pressure. Presti isn't like most GMs who toss out max deals just because someone had a hot season. He's calculated, patient, and always thinking a few moves ahead, like he's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. Look at Denver, for example. Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray both got massive extensions because they were homegrown and rising. But if Presti had been running the Nuggets, there's no guarantee he would have made those same calls. This man once hesitated to pay James Harden early in OKC's old era, and that cautious mindset has shaped his entire philosophy. And just recently, he shocked the whole league again by trading Josh Giddey, who's now a full superstar in Chicago, for Alex Caruso. Most GMs would have been scared to make that move, but Presti knew Caruso fit OKC's identity perfectly. It's never about big names with him, it's about fit, chemistry, and who elevates the entire system. Of course, every dynasty has doubters. We've seen this movie before. About 15 years ago, OKC's young trio, Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden, reached the finals at just 22 and 23 years old, and people swore they were the next great dynasty. But that team was built in a totally different way. They ran on pure talent and highlight level skill. The whole strategy basically came down to hand the ball to the stars and let them cook. It was fun to watch, but it wasn't stable. There was no long-term structure, no deep system, and if one guy went down, everything crashed instantly. This time though, completely different story. The modern Thunder have layers, depth, elite defense, and a real identity that doesn't rely on one or two players carrying everything. They've built something strong, something disciplined, something that shows they learned from every mistake of the past. Under Sam Presti's guidance, this squad isn't just trying to stack wins. They're shaping what could become a whole new era of basketball, and the proof is right there on the court. The new Oklahoma City Thunder don't face the same setbacks that doomed their old era. Jalen Williams missed a huge portion of the season, a player who made All-NBA third team and All-Defensive second team, yet OKC still posted the highest net rating in NBA history. That's unreal. Most teams losing a player like that would fall apart instantly, but OKC looked so steady that people barely even noticed he was sidelined. And remember, this is the same team folks doubted when Mark Daigneault first took the head coaching job. He was young, unproven, and people questioned if he was ready, but he silenced every critic fast. He's built a system that's rock solid from top to bottom, where every player knows exactly what they're supposed to do and delivers with precision. This roster attacks on defense non-stop, constant pressure, non-stop movement, and multiple ball handling threats no matter who's in the game. When you combine that with Sam Presti's sharp talent scouting, you get one of the most dangerous coach-GM duos the league has seen since the height of the Warriors dynasty. Together, they've created something rare. They already stacked up 68 wins and a championship, and somehow they just keep leveling up with one of the youngest title rosters ever. Their hunger to improve and dominate isn't just strong, it might be unmatched in the entire league. So now the big question pops up: who can actually catch them? Just a year or two ago, people assumed Boston would run the East while the West turned into a chaotic battle. But fate flipped the script completely. The Celtics got hit hard after Tatum's devastating injury, freezing their run right as they were hitting their peak. Their roster was already packed with expensive vets and big contracts, which made keeping the team together almost impossible. Ironically, Boston was supposed to be the OKC of the East. Balanced, deep, smart, and built to last. But timing and injuries crushed that path fast. So honestly, the only real way a team might catch the Thunder is if OKC deals with some tough luck of their own. But let's talk real competition, because there are squads rising. The Los Angeles Lakers are climbing quick, led by Austin Reeves, who jumped from reliable sidekick to borderline superstar. The Houston Rockets finally look like they're figuring things out. The Denver Nuggets made a few actually smart moves for once. And even the San Antonio Spurs are starting to wake up with real purpose. The Western Conference is stacked with talent right now, but even with all that firepower floating around, OKC still stands tall as the team everybody's chasing. Of course, even the strongest squads have pressure points. OKC's depth is elite, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the engine that makes everything hum. People love hyping his teammates, but Shai is the one who bends defenses the moment he steps on the court. His presence alone shifts everything. Even when he's not moving, defenders panic because they know he can score from anywhere, at the rim, in the mid-range, or from deep. People throw around the phrase, three-level scorer, but Shai is the definition of it, hitting every level with wild efficiency. His jumper, once the weakest part of his game, is now a straight-up weapon, and this season, he's averaging a career-high 32.8 points per game, proving he's one of the most dangerous offensive players alive. Some critics try to say he's not the most complete superstar. Maybe he's not grabbing huge rebounds or throwing flashy passes like others, but none of that even matters. This Thunder system is built perfectly around him, covering every tiny gap so he can do exactly what he does best, get buckets. Still, there is one opening teams try to exploit: when Shai's supporting cast goes cold. We've seen flashes of it in past playoff runs. Even though this version of OKC is way more mature and battle-tested, there could still come a moment where everything rests on whether those role players stay sharp under real pressure. But the scary part, these dudes get better every season. There may come a day, sooner than later, when this supporting cast becomes so polished, so confident, and so experienced that shutting them down won't even be possible anymore. When that day finally hits, the moment every piece clicks at the same time, this team won't just be great, they'll be flat out unstoppable. What started as a quiet rebuild has turned into a full-blown revolution. The Oklahoma City Thunder didn't just survive the league's chaos, they learned how to control it. With Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leading the charge, Sam Presti pulling every string behind the scenes, and a system that evolves non-stop, this squad might be crafting the next iconic NBA dynasty right in front of our eyes. If they stay healthy and keep that fire blazing, we might be watching history unfold in real time. The real question isn't if they'll dominate, it's how long the rest of the league can keep up. So now I'm throwing it to you. What do you think? Are the Thunder truly the next great dynasty, or are they just catching the perfect wave for now? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I genuinely want to hear your take. Thank you for locking in with me. I appreciate every one of you. And before you dip out, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to BallScope for more wild NBA breakdowns and stories that hit different. And if you're still in the zone, don't go anywhere. We've got another crazy video waiting for you right now. Catch you in the next one. Peace.